Think about the last time you walked through a sterile hospital corridor. You smelled that sharp medicinal air, saw the gleaming white floors, and felt a sense of absolute clinical order. But here is the stunning reality. Hospitals are essentially giant heated boxes filled with water, organic waste, and thousands of hidden voids. In the world of pest control, a hospital should be a paradise for the common cockroach. They have industrial kitchens, laundry rooms with high humidity, and miles of internal plumbing that act as a private highway system. Yet you will almost never see a single roach scurrying across those linoleum tiles. Most people think it's because of heavy toxic spraying, but that is a dangerous myth. In a building full of immunocompromised patients and sensitive surgical equipment, you cannot simply douse the walls in industrial poison. After 45 years of investigating the infrastructure of cleanliness, I discovered that the secret isn't a chemical. It is a genius hydraulic trick used by hospital janitorial staff and facility engineers that involves atmospheric pressure control and a biological barrier logic that the retail pest control industry never wants you to learn. Today, I am exposing why your home is a roach magnet despite your cleaning efforts, the 3-second janitor secret that prevents infestation without a single drop of spray, and the old-world Japanese sanitation principle that turns any building into a hostile environment for pests, while keeping it perfectly safe for humans and pets. To understand why hospitals are roach-free zones, we have to stop looking at the walls and start looking at the negative pressure environment. Roaches are not just scavengers, they are pressure-sensitive navigators. They have tiny hairs on their legs called cerci that detect minute changes in airflow and barometric pressure. American hospitals are engineered with positive pressure in the hallways and managed flow in the utility zones. The janitors aren't just mopping floors, they are maintaining a seal. The genius trick starts with something called the vapor lock ritual. In a standard American home, your floor drains and sink traps are often dry or stagnant, creating a scent bridge directly from the sewer to your kitchen. Hospital janitors use a non-evaporative mineral shield in every single floor drain. This is a thin layer of specialized oil that sits on top of the water in the U-bend. It prevents the water from evaporating and, more importantly, it blocks the pheromone pathway. When a roach in the plumbing system tries to find a way into the building, it hits a chemical wall that tells its nervous system there is zero air and zero food on the other side. By spending 3 seconds priming the trap with this shield, the hospital creates a perimeter that is more effective than 1,000 gallons of insecticide. In the old world of Japanese engineering, they call this the silent void. They realized centuries ago that pests follow humidity gradients. If one room is slightly more humid than the hallway, the roach will move toward the moisture. Hospital janitors flip the script by keeping the internal voids, the spaces behind the walls, bone dry through desiccant plenums. But for you at home, the genius trick you can steal today is the Barade silica dusting behind the baseboard gap. Janitors in high-end facilities don't wait for a problem. They incorporate the solution into the structure. They use a microfine dust that is electrostatically charged. When you puff this into the gaps under your cabinets, it clings to the surfaces like a magnet. To a roach, this dust is like microscopic sandpaper. It doesn't poison them in the traditional way, it dehydrates their waxy outer coating. Because it is inorganic, it never wears out. A hospital treated with static borates in 1990 is still active today. This is permanent defense that the big spray companies hope you never discover because it eliminates the need for a monthly service contract. The reason American homes fail where hospitals succeed is because of micro-clutter. We think we are clean because we wiped the counters, but roaches don't live on your counters. They live in the shadows of the appliances. In a hospital, every piece of equipment is either caster-mounted or wall-hung. There are no dead zones. The janitor's secret is total visual access. If a roach cannot find a dark, compressed crack where both its back and its belly touch a surface at the same time, a behavior called thigmotaxis, it will not stay. They feel vulnerable in the open. By using stainless steel deflectors at the floor level, hospitals deny the squeeze. You can do this at home by sealing the kick plates of your cabinets with siliconized acrylic. You are shrinking the habitat. If there is no squeeze space, there is no roach colony. It represents a structural eviction rather than a chemical assault. Let's talk about the genetic memory of these insects. The American cockroach and the German cockroach have spent millions of years evolving to find organic protein chains. In a hospital, the cleaning agents used by the staff contain enzymatic digesters. These aren't just soap. These enzymes break down the protein traces of food and skin cells at a molecular level. When a janitor mops a floor, they are erasing the scent of life. In your home, you likely use scented cleaners that actually mask organic matter rather than dissolving it. To a roach, your lemon-scented floor still smells like a buffet hidden under a perfume. The genius hospital trick is to use fragrance-free bioenzymes. When the organic signal drops to zero, the roach migrates to your neighbor's house instead. They are biological machines, following a signal. If you kill the signal, you redirect the machine. Why does the pest control monopoly bury this janitorial logic? Because it is one and done. They want you to believe in the evolutionary arms race, that roaches are evolving to survive sprays. While that is partly true, they cannot evolve to survive a lack of water, a lack of space, or a lack of signal. The hospital model is a system of denial. It is passive resistance. By plugging the voids and enzyming the surfaces, you are voting your home out of the ecosystem. The industry wants a war because a war requires constant supplies. Passive resistance only requires intelligence. The stunning factor of the hospital janitor trick is the magnetic bait placement. Janitors don't just throw bait in a corner. They understand harborage mapping. They place indoxacarb gels inside the motor housings of refrigerators and behind electrical outlets. Why? Because roaches are drawn to the electric field. The heat and the vibration of the copper wires mimic the subterranean warmth of their ancestral homes. By targeting the heat source, the janitors intercept the colony at its meeting point. In your home, you can do this by dabbing a tiny amount of professional-grade bait inside the back panel of your dishwasher. You are placing the Trojan horse exactly where the soldiers are gathering. The Japanese influence on hospital sanitation is profound. In the old world traditions, there was a concept that purity starts at the threshold. In Japanese facilities, you will see air curtains at every door. These are high-velocity blowers that create a wall of air. A roach, being lightweight, cannot physically cross the turbulence. While you might not install an air curtain at your front door, you can use physical threshold seals called sweeps. Most American homes have a half-inch gap under the back door. That is a grand entrance for a pregnant female roach. A professional janitor would see that gap as a catastrophic failure. By installing a compression sweep, you close the port. It is mechanical integrity versus biological opportunism. Let's talk about the pipe chase secret. In every hospital, there is a main vertical shaft where all the plumbing lives. Janitors and facility managers treat this shaft with diatomaceous earth and crystalline borates every 6 months. They turn the internal veins of the building into a hostile desert. You can replicate this by removing the escutcheon plates, those little metal rings around your pipes under the sink, and puffing the dust into the wall cavity. Then caulk the plates shut. You have just garrisoned the walls. If a roach enters from the sewer line or the siding, it has to crawl through the desert to get to your kitchen. It won't make it. This is interdiction. You are intercepting the enemy before they reach the border. The DNA of the modern roach is optimized for survival. They can hold their breath for 40 minutes. They can live off the glue on a cardboard box. This is why hospital janitors have a strict rule about no corrugated cardboard in clinical areas. Cardboard boxes are the Trojan horses of the pest world. They are born in warehouses and shipped into your home. The roaches lay egg cases called ootheca in the corrugation. When you bring your grocery boxes into the kitchen, you are importing an infestation. A professional janitor decants everything. They take the items out of the cardboard in the loading dock and transfer them to plastic bins. If you want a roach-free home, burn the cardboard. Don't let it sit in the pantry. You are eliminating the transport mechanism. The stunning thing about hospital drains is the biofilm management. Roaches don't just drink water. They eat the sludge that grows on the inside of the pipe. This sludge is a biofilm of bacterial growth and organic flakes. Hospital janitors use foaming drain cleaners that contain bacillus bacteria. These good bacteria literally eat the biofilm. They strip the pipe clean to the metal. Without biofilm, the drain is just a cold, empty slide. There is no reason for a roach to climb up into your sink. They starve the pipe. You can buy these maintenance foams at professional supply houses. It is living technology protecting your home. Why is the pest control industry drowning in plastic? They want you to buy traps and motels. These are reactive tools. They prove you have a problem without actually solving it. A hospital janitor doesn't care about proof. They care about absence. The genius trick is environmental modification. If you change the rules of the environment, the insects cannot exist. It's physics, it's thermodynamics, it's biology. When you lower the humidity below 50% with a dehumidifier, you paralyze the German cockroach's ability to reproduce. They need ambient moisture to hydrate the egg case. In a clinical environment, the HVAC system is locked at 45% humidity. This is birth control for pests through atmospheric engineering. As an old-school practitioner, I've seen the fear in a mother's eyes when she sees a roach in the nursery. The instinct is to spray everything. But the chemical fog is an acute risk to the developing lungs of a child. The hospital janitor method is zero risk. It is caulking, dusting voids, enzymatic cleaning, and humidity control. It is building health rather than building poison. We have forgotten that sanitation is a mechanical art. It is about flow and seal. It is about dignity of the space. The genealogy of the cockroach in America is tied to structural decay. They flourished in the tenements of the 19th century because the walls were porous and the plumbing was leaky. We have inherited that porous thinking. We accept that walls have holes. A hospital janitor accepts nothing. They see a crack as a security breach. By thinking like a janitor, you start to see your home as a closed system. You seal the electrical plates, you seal the baseboards, and you seal the drains. You fortify the sanctuary. The stunning factor of electronic pest repellers, those ones you plug into the wall, is that they are largely a scam. They claim to use ultrasonics, but roaches adapt to consistent noise in hours. A hospital would never waste money on those. They invest in copper mesh stuffed into weep holes. They invest in silica aerogels. They invest in reality. If you want to expose the scam in your own life, throw away the gadgets and buy a tube of high-quality caulk. One bead of silicone is permanent, silent, and total. Why is hospital janitorial work so invisible? Because when it is done perfectly, nothing happens. There are no bugs, no smells, and no illness. We value the drama of the exterminator in his mask, but we ignore the wisdom of the janitor with his enzymes. The janitor is the true engineer of the hospital environment. He is the guardian of the threshold. By adopting the 3-second shield in your drains and the decanting rule for your boxes, you are joining the ranks of the invisible professionals. Let's talk about the fridge trick. Roaches love the compressor of a refrigerator. It is warm, it is vibrating, and there is a drip pan of condensation underneath. This is a roach resort. Hospital janitors vacuum the coils once a month. This removes the dust that roaches use as insulation and camouflage. Then, they dust the underside with a light film of boric acid. This turns your kitchen's heart into a deadly destination for pests while improving the efficiency of your appliance. You save energy and prevent infestation simultaneously. It is synergistic maintenance. The history of institutional pest control is a tale of moving from general to specific. In the 70s, they baseboard sprayed everything. In the 90s, they gelled everything. Today, they engineer everything. The hospital of the future is a hyper-sealed system. We can retrofit our older homes to this sealed standard. It just takes patience and the old-world observation of where the air moves. If air can move through a gap, a nymph roach can move through that gap. By sealing for air efficiency, you are sealing for pest integrity. They are the same goal. In conclusion, you will never find roaches in a hospital, because a hospital is a machine designed to oppose life at the microscale. Through atmospheric pressure, enzymatic erasure, structural sealing, and mineral desiccants, they have created a fortress. You don't need a plumber's degree or an exterminator's license to copy these tricks. You just need to shift your perspective. Stop fighting the roaches and start refining the environment. Make your drains a shield, your walls a desert, and your appliances a hostile zone. Burn the cardboard, seal the plates, and watch the humidity. The genius of the janitor is consistency over complexity. Honor the threshold, protect the integrity, and let the sanctuary be pure. The old world knows that true cleanliness is a state of being, not a reaction to a mess. Reclaim your home by adopting the clinical standard. You are the janitor of your sanctuary. Act with authority.